My face is blown out. My goodness. I need a lighting system.
Did you try turning on your ceiling light?
I have, and it just doesn't work. Any one of those is an O light, ring light, right?
Yeah.
I'm thinking O ring.
Oh, I can't reach it far enough. I got one of them. I was just trying to put it in my camera, but it didn't make it.
I've seen a lot of those videos where people record with them, but they've got glasses, and so it actually bounces off of the frame of the glasses, the lens, and it's really obvious they're using that.
I don't have
But
any glasses in here.
I have a glass I'm drinking out of, but not wearing.
Bouncing off.
And that's how the start of episode 61 of the Talking
Oh, we're
Guys
recording?
begins. We are recording. I think so, because you gave the countdown. So,
Yeah, I hit the button.
yeah. I was incredibly blessed as a kid that I have 20/20 vision. So, I actually won a bet from my sister many years ago when she actually worked for an eye doctor's facility, store. What are those called?
Clinic?
Clinic. There you go. That
Okay.
works.
Cool,
We'll,
cool,
we'll
cool,
use
cool.
that word. See, Seth's got his education going with
I
his
am I
homeschooling.
am an intelligent human being.
Yeah. I actually won a bet many years ago when she worked for that company. She had bet me, I think, $20. She's like, "You don't have 20/20 vision." I said, "Yeah, I do." And she said, "Well, come to the office. We'll give you a free eye exam." I said, "Okay, cool." Next day, show up. They did the tests. Hey, congratulations, you've got 20/20 vision. It's like, cool. Well, also congratulations, I just won $20.
Nice. So
So
2020 for 20.
yeah, so you
Think
know,
Patrick can hear us?
Mhm.
no,
I can.
no, yeah. So no glasses, no contacts. Just out here living life in 2020 and 2021. Yeah. A while back we talked about, you're an asshole if you do this. I think one of the things we had mentioned was talking or texting during a movie, right? We talked about that, I think. Or at
Yeah.
least if it wasn't in that episode, I know it's something that we have covered in depth previous episodes. So for those that have been with us, you know what we're talking about. For those that are just joining us, pet peeves basically. Yesterday, my girlfriend and I go see the new Snake Eyes movie. It wasn't bad. I'd give it like a 6.5, maybe out of 10. Closer to a 7, 6, yeah, somewhere around there. 6, six and a
Oh,
half,
I
7.
was contemplating watching it, but I guess I'll wait.
It's great, and the first 2/3 of the movie are amazing. The last, it's kind of like it kind of falls apart, and some things happen. I think a little too quickly, and it's already stretching a time length. I think of a little over 2 hours, 2 hours 15 minutes, 2 hours 20 minutes, something like that. And they spend a lot of time towards the middle of the movie with long exposition and drawn out scenes that I think could have probably been trimmed to then give the third half of the movie a bit more time. But just a minor qualm. But the biggest issue I had actually going was right when the movie started, there was a gentleman at the very end of the row we were sitting on, and he's got his phone on, and his brightness is cranked to 100, and the screen's on, and he just has it there for a couple minutes, and notifications start going off, and people are starting to look around and get kind of pissed while the movie's going, right? And then finally he gets up and leaves. Well, instead of turning his phone off and then walking down the steps, he has his phone in hand walking like this. So there's light just bouncing. He never came back. So I don't know what the deal with that was, but thank God he left.
Got stood up.
However, though, the people he was sitting next to that were not in the same group with him, but sitting next to him, they kept talking during the movie. And it wasn't like hey, what are we doing after the movie? Did you check the game last night? It was actual stuff about the movie, maybe characters, backstory, stuff that could have been maybe explained either before or after the movie, but they decided that it was important that they actually talk during the movie. And I don't know. I hate that.
Eh,
It's distracting.
yeah, but at least it was about the movie though. It's like if it's just talking about random shit, then why are you even there, kind of thing. least they're talking about the movie, I guess.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, don't ruin it for other people that are just kind of immersed into the experience. It really, I love movies, and so does my girlfriend, right? We didn't get a whole lot of that last year because of COVID. However, though, we had a lot of options available to us to stream movies from home. And when you experience things like we did yesterday, it really just makes you question, why am I still spending money to go out if this is a consistent thing? Because it's something we've noticed the last couple times we've actually gone out, is people on their phones texting or talking. And, you know, just, it's really, it makes me not miss movies when that kind of stuff happens. It's like, I could be home with her and it's just us. We don't have to worry about other people interrupting the movie, walking in front of us, on their phones, talking, that kind of thing. So I said it last year, that I think COVID is the start of theatrical releases not being a big thing in 10 years from now. And I think this is just one of those steps that pushes towards that. Because you
Yeah,
have
I
a
mean,
lot of
I
people
still
that probably
agree.
share similar opinions to us that
Why don't you just like be like, dude, get out. Just just make a scene. Get out of the movie. If you're gonna be on your shit, get out.
Yeah.
I've done that before, and they look at you.
So what
Yeah,
what
so
you really should
make
do
it
is
awkward for him.
what you really should do is you walk over to him while he's sitting there and like texting, and you just knock his phone out of his hand, and then just walk away, just like that. It's exactly what you should do every single time.
You sure?
Because it
Mhm.
literally says at the beginning of the movie, no cell phones. Please turn your cell phones on silent. So if you're gonna go to a movie and be on your cell phone and be texting, and then you not only have that going on, but it's fully bright and extremely annoying, and then you're getting phone calls and answering them and not like leaving permanently until you're done with your phone calls. Why'd you go to the movie in the first place? And if they wouldn't stop, I'd be like, all right, I'm gonna go get the managers and they can throw you out of the damn movie. And I will miss 10 minutes of the movie if I have to. They can stop it for all I care.
Yeah.
You're not sitting in my movie theater and disrespecting my time. I paid $10 to see this movie. You did too. You agreed to the terms of the deal. Get out.
Nobody
Yeah,
reads
you
the
agreed to
fine
the
print.
terms and conditions once you bought the ticket.
I mean, maybe you'll get shot for it, but hey, you got to put your foot down, man. These people
Yeah,
nowadays don't know how
yeah.
to act anymore.
Yeah. It's you mentioned that the people that are on their phones and they tell you things like, "Oh, well, I'm on call or I'm expecting an important text or an email this afternoon." Don't go to the movie. Do not go.
No.
If you cannot take an uninterrupted 3 hours, that's basically the longest you're going to be at the theater. If you cannot take an uninterrupted 3 hours from life, do not go. Don't go. And my girlfriend had mentioned she actually used to work at a theater years ago, and she said if people would come up to us and said, "Hey, I've had an emergency," or "Hey, I'm on call, I have to leave," they would get a rain check to come back at a later date. And I told her, I said, "No, y'all should not have handed out rain checks because all that does is encourages people to do this in the future." Well, hey, I've got a rain check and I got it covered. I'll come back and watch another movie another time. And then if you have a lot of people that do that, then you've got a lot of interrupted movies.
Yeah,
It
but
should be
also
if you have
you got to think about the other people, the people who are there with the plan of spending that time not even not looking at their phone, and then something happens with their babysitter or their child. Like I mean, life happens, so I think giving that rain check is actually kind of a nice thing to do because
Yeah,
life
because then
happens.
they leave.
Yeah,
Okay? So it's like they get the call, they've got to go. They're like, "Hey, yo, I've literally been in this movie for 20 minutes. Like, can I just get a rain check? I'll come back because I obviously am going to get bugged and I can't." Because there's a lot of people, especially when you start getting into management and things like that where, they expect you to be bugged all the time. So,
You don't think that encourages that kind of behavior though, moving forward with
no,
anyone?
because at least they're leaving, like if they get bugged, they're just out. Like, okay, cool. I mean, you still do the common courtesy of like putting it on a really loud like vibrator or something, like where it's just like buzz buzz, but it's not like completely just out of this like a ringtone. But I don't know, some people can't, they just can't walk away from their jobs because they want to. Like the company expects them to, and they want to keep their job, so they have to. Because like when I used to be a GM, I was expected to answer the phone. If people call and there's an emergency, I have to answer it. So, you know, sometimes they wouldn't get bugged, but some weekends out of nowhere you would get bugged, and it's like, so you can't just like turn your phone off. But you could, I always put my phone on silent and made sure it was muted, and I don't have Amber alerts turned on my phone so they can't go off. And I didn't mess with my phone unless I knew, like unless it's vibrating like it's ringing for 10 seconds. Okay, well then something might be up, and then I would just get up and leave and see who called me. That would be the proper way to do it.
Yeah,
Instead
that
of
would be. That'd
opening
be
your
the
phone up
courteous.
and checking it, you're like, okay, somebody called. I'm just gonna leave. We'll see what it is.
Yeah,
You
I
know?
don't see that a lot though. Is if people get notification, they look right then and there
Yeah.
instead of excusing themselves. If they excuse themselves, I'm okay with that. You
We-
put it on vibrate, whatever. If it goes off, you walk out, you look
What
at it, and then you come back if you need to,
what I
or if you need
do
to, you leave.
what I do is, I mean, I almost always have a hat on. So like if my phone just vibrates constantly, then I'll put it under my hat and then use that to like cover the shine so no one can see it, so I can still glance at it just to see if it's
But you've
important.
got your brightness turned all the way down.
I mean, who the hell doesn't have auto brightness on? Like, that's what I was thinking when you say the guy's brightness was high. I'm like, why does he not have his auto brightness on? Like, that's just bad for your eyes in a dark room to stare at a 100% screen. But,
Yeah.
but I also, like I said,
But
I
I mean,
use my
it's so
cat.
dark
I
in
use
there
my
too, so
hat
it
so it
makes,
doesn't affect anyone but me. Maybe the person right next to me,
and
and they're there with
and
me, so I can just punch them if they get mad. So
Okay.
Seth also uses the those little dark screen protectors where you can't see from the
privacy
side,
screen.
so
Yeah.
less
Oh, a
people would
private,
even be able
privacy
to
screen.
see his phone even if he checked it. Because literally if you're just at a slight angle, you can barely see anything out of the phone. It's like it's not
Patrick, that's
even
what
on.
you use to browse porn at work, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
No, because I'm never on my, well, that's not true. I do take breaks and I do check my phone, but lately I have just been like not checking it at all. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Got it. Is
But
that why you didn't text me back yesterday? Day
yeah,
before yesterday?
yeah.
I didn't think you were gonna bring me that energy drink. I'm just like, damn it, he's not even gonna look at his phone.
Well, no, yeah, I didn't look at the phone for a good like 6 hours there or whatever, and then I finally saw it when I was leaving work, and I was like, oh, and so I literally walked out to my car, started it, and then looked at my phone because that's usually when I'll check my phone like before I drive. I'm like, okay, because I'm responsible and I don't text and drive ever, pretty much. So
Pretty much.
the once in a blue moon, I'll break the rule. But I don't know. I don't care. I don't care who it is. I just want to answer if I'm driving. But I have the little thing that I was saying that Seth showed me, and now I started using it like Android Play or whatever. So I actually do the voice respond. Like I'll get a text message and I'll just have it read it out to me, and then I'll like talk to my car and it'll just answer it for me.
Yeah, we'll get back with Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, but that's why smartwatches are so convenient, Pat. Because if you
No,
get a text message or a
nope.
no,
Because
Great.
I'm not allowed to wear watches if I do
Well,
fruit service, and I touch water a lot and everything, and I have to wash my hands.
I
Stop.
think in a well, like in a I don't know if you're talking. Were you talking about in a vehicle? Well,
no, I'm just talking
oh,
about
okay.
in
I was gonna say
general.
because I feel like because I see the people who are playing with their watches while they're driving. That's worse than a phone. You got a little baby screen. You got to look at it harder, and it's just like I see people who are like doing that while they're driving. I'm just like, okay, that's worse than just pick up your fucking phone. Like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's I think nowadays people just have a swear to God, it's probably become worse because of COVID and people all being at home and crap. and not working like they should have. Um, and so now it's like I feel like people are like ultra addicted to their phones right now, where they like are on them all the time because that's what they spent the last like 9 months doing is sitting on their phone watching TikToks and YouTube videos and checking their Snapchats and Instas and all that.
All that
So
other cool lingo.
now it's like in their brain because of all the dopamine hits they've gotten from like flicking their screen up and like flick flick like then now they're like okay, so they're just like robots. They can't help themselves. Like they just have to check their phone because they think it's so important.
But if FOMO's a real thing, okay?
Uh-huh.
Hmm?
Oh, the what is down?
FOMO, fear of missing out.
Okay.
Yeah, so
And I can understand
that
but
hour
it's
that
like-
you didn't look at your phone, you might have missed the coolest thing in the world,
Oh yeah.
or you might have
Pat-
just continued with your boring life. But whatever.
Dude, I was reading an interesting article, which is this little side trail. But it's from like Yahoo Finance or whatever, and they were talking about um like a record amount of people have quit their jobs recently. Like in May, it was 4 million workers quit their jobs.
Are they trying
And
to get onto the unemployment train? Is that why?
in June, it was 3.6 million. No, like they said, this is the highest it's ever been in a long time. People are like historic numbers of new jobs, different jobs, better paying jobs, because people are so desperate for workers that they're trying to do whatever they can to pull people in, and so people are just like constantly switching.
Yeah, I
They
saw
said
the
like
other day. There was a QT I'd gone to, and there was a sign out front that said $200 starting bonus.
yeah,
For
yeah.
new, for new hires.
We have that too.
But they're saying that 35% of workers in the United States of America have switched jobs over the past year,
Damn.
which is like insane to think about because that's a lot of workers. And
I
I
need to
was
get
like,
on that
man,
plane.
I
Now,
know.
does that also
Because I've
include
been
people that
thinking
were
about that
fired?
for months upon months of like maybe I should change my job, maybe I should change my job, and then Will went and changed his job, and it was funny. And then Seth's been talking about it too, and I'm like, damn, dude,
Don't say that while we're
it's not
recording.
just us, it's everybody apparently. Holy crap!
Yeah.
Like maybe I need to change a pace, do something different. Because they're saying, like a ton of people are that actually worked through the pandemic are experiencing like large amount of burnout and everything because of like
Makes sense.
heavy hours working, and so they just are fed up with their current job, and so they're just like, I'm gonna dip out and not work anymore or change and do a different job. And that was just curious that it's just like I just can't believe that it's like that many people. Like 4 million
So I
people is a
can't
lot of
remember. I
people.
can't remember the number, but high. Damn, I wish I could remember the number, but I thought it was crazy. But it's the highest amount of jobs available right now, also than the U.S. has ever had. Like,
Yeah.
So there's people looking for people to like the amount of like I guess open jobs like Indeed, etc. is at higher than it's ever been. And
Yep.
but so many people are sitting at home collecting their checks for absolute.
But luckily, there are a lot of places that are like being like, yeah, we're not doing it anymore. So unless something happens with new administration or whatever, and they end up extending it even farther, which God forbid they do that. If not, man, dude, there's going to be some really good opportunities for jobs out there. So people, if you're unhappy with where you're at, start looking because you probably are going to be able to find some other place that'll pay you a lot more.
Now is definitely the time to try
Yeah, like
something
this
else,
is like the
'cause-
easiest time to transition. It's funny too because we have a friend that when we go throw axes, and she was talking about changing jobs too, and has even been looking for it. It's like it's all over the place. We went and threw it with another friend that works at and he was saying he's gonna quit his job and change it completely too. I'm like, man, everybody's just jumping on this trend, dude.
I mean, sometimes it's a good thing, sometimes it's not. Depends on what it is. I mean, my biggest thing right now, and is my talents are not being utilized at all. Like, and so I'd either rather go somewhere and utilize my talents, so I feel like I'm being challenged, I guess, because I'm not being challenged, or go somewhere that takes out that stupid stress. One way or the other. Like, just go somewhere
Yep.
nice and easy, or go somewhere that makes me actually have to do something. Like, right now, I'm in the
Yep.
point where I'm making good money and I'm comfortable, but there's just not, I could do this job with, eyes closed. Really hard to type with my. But anyways, it's an easy
Right.
job.
And I definitely feel that because it's like it's hard. I think that's the hardest part about working, in my opinion, is I don't mind going to work, right? Like I enjoy the routine of getting up, going to work, doing whatever my job is. Like sometimes there'll be days where I'm like, man, I really don't want to be here. Majority of the time I enjoy going to work, like doing something because I've been that person before that didn't have a job for a while and it sucks. It's cool for about a week and then you're like, dude, this just blows.
I don't even like vacations. I mean, I do, but by
Um
the end of it, I'm bored.
and it sucks not having money either, you know? So like if you don't work, you don't have money. So your options of what you want to do with your free time are very slim unless you're like a millionaire and I guess you just like retire and spend all your money for the rest of your life. But most people aren't in that spot. So I think that's like so true though. It's like the challenge. But to me, it's like I like being challenged, but it's also like there's only a certain level of like stress and like unpredictability in a job before you're just like, do I continue to want to do this? No matter how cool the job is or whatever. It's like if I'm asked to constantly like stop what I'm doing and go work, you know? Or work tons of hours like every week because nobody else is coming in or whatever. It's like eventually that wears on you. And so it's like you literally do experience like burnout even with the job that you like. And it's just interesting because like all throughout the industries right now like people are just like nobody they don't have enough workers everywhere.
Right.
Yeah.
But
Uh,
I don't
and
know.
they don't really have a good option to solve it yet. So I
Yeah,
don't know.
I think what you could take from this is, if you have a job that you really want, you've been wanting, but it's a harder field to get into, now is definitely a time to make that jump for it. But don't just quit your job because there's other jobs out there, because you
Yeah.
might end up hating that next job also, and then whenever eventually one day when you get your shit together and you decide you want a career, like you get to the point where when people start looking back, they're like, why did you only work at this job for 2 months? Why'd you work at this one for three? Why'd you like?
Yeah.
And because the real jobs that are going to pay you a lot of money, they're going to look at those things like, I'm not going to invest in you if you clearly don't stay places. And so
Yep.
yeah, don't just jump ship and try something else, but like, unless you absolutely hate your job. I mean, there's that too, but have a plan. Go for something big and know you want to do it before doing it. Just keep There are people in the industry right now that are literally like, they'll go somewhere, stay a couple months because they got a sign on bonus or something, and then they'll go somewhere else and do it again, and go somewhere else and do it again, and really, like, down the road when they're trying to really get a job that'll pay them more than 11, $12 an hour, they're not going to be able to get it. Not.
Yeah. I think my dad always said like it's okay to switch jobs, right? But like you're saying, you want to make sure that you're showing not loyalty in the sense that you're like, no, I'm just going to stick with the same company for forever, because really the industry now doesn't really care about that as much. But they do care about you at least putting a significant portion of your time into one thing and then hopping to another. So like an example would be me. I've had a lot of jobs, but barring like two two of them, the majority of the jobs I've stayed more than a year, if not more than that. Some of them I've stayed for 2.5, 3 years. And so it's like when somebody looks at my resume, it's still like, oh, well, when he finds a job, he usually stays at it. Um, and that's going to look better than somebody that's like, oh, yeah, I'm just hopping around, hopping around. And my dad has a rule that, like, if he takes a new job, he usually will stay for at least 2 years, he says, 1 to 2 years before he'll even think, even if he gets a really good deal, because it looks bad, especially when you start getting up there in the world, um, to leave right after you
I mean,
got there.
because you've got, I mean, so we're talking about like upper jobs right now. Your basic,
Yeah.
that's your basic job, but you start getting into those, director type jobs, and etc. You've got like you'll get headhunted. You'll have people who like that's
hmm
their job is to go headhunt people, but they get bonuses based on your staying. And so, like, if you go there for a little bit and leave, they will never headhunt you again, even if you're really good at your job.
Yep.
If you just immediately go somewhere else, you have people who they won't do it again because they lost out on their bonus. It looked bad on them because they're saying, hey, you should really hire this person. They hire them, and they're like, all right, 3 months, I'm out. They're like, yeah, it's gonna really ruin your credibility. And so then at that level, people not they're just gonna
Yeah.
stop. They're gonna stop, and so you might miss out on that really good job.
Yep. And yeah, that happens to my dad all the time because, all of his jobs he stayed at for a large portion of time. Most of them it's been like more than 5 years. And so he gets like people calling him all the time and like, hey, you want this job? And sometimes just, they'll give like the details of it and he'd be like, no, not interested. I have to move halfway across the country and I'm going to make the same pay. Why would I do it?
Yeah.
So it's like they're constantly headhunting you, but like they get told no all the time, until finally something pops up. And that's why, like, a lot of the bigger, when you start getting more of a resume built and you have up in the higher level in careers, it starts being, what's it called? I blanked on the website. It's like
LinkedIn.
LinkedIn, like most of them find you on, a lot of people will find you on LinkedIn too. So that's why it's like super important that you keep your LinkedIn like really professional and you like add people that you worked with previously that you have good relationships, because you never know when they'll throw you back a bone. Like my dad got laid off, and a vice president from another company that he had met in passing, when in one of the places he worked, like he had gone to some conferences and met him and talked to him and stuff. That guy got him another job. Instead, it wasn't that he even found a job. The guy was like, hey, there's this position up, and I know you're looking for something, and I feel like you might be a good fit. You should go check it out. And then he applied and he got that job based off of a relationship that it's not even like they were best friends or anything. So it's like, it's all about who you know, man. And that's very true.
Yeah,
It
my
still sticks
LinkedIn
to
is
this day.
it looks like my MySpace page,
Uh-huh.
dude.
Yeah.
It's LinkedIn's just the modern MySpace, right?
Yes, basically.
I got Linkin Park's "Numb" playing in the background
Hell
with a
yeah.
bunch of images of weed. And
Okay.
yeah,
Yes.
for 420 Blaze it, bro.
I see you're trying to pinpoint who you want to pay attention.
And
You're
that's
gonna
how I
get
got
hired at one of
the
those
job
like
I'm at right now.
premier weed shops, and they'll
Yeah.
pay you like $15 an hour to sell weed, dude. You'll be living
Or
the
like
dream.
$12 an hour.
Whoa, calm down. Don't
I don't know,
overachieve.
because we're talking like really like Colorado, where they're paying
Yeah.
like. So I had
The
a
cost of
friend
living's
I have
higher.
a friend who's moving to Colorado, and so he was just there, and he was looking
For the
at
weed,
some
right?
stuff. No, for the mountains and stuff is what he's for.
Yeah.
But
The mountains.
the mountains. But yeah, he said
He wants to get high on the mountains.
altitude high.
Oh, yeah.
Anyways, he said that the Qdoba was hiring at 19 an hour.
What?
Yeah, and I forget. He said something else. I'm not gonna go.
Yeah, but like I said,
but
it's like
he
the,
said somewhere else
cost
that
of
was
living's
that
higher
was
though,
like
right?
20 something. Yeah. Oh yeah. But it's just like
Yeah. That's crazy to think about.
Yeah.
Like, man, dude. But I
Yeah,
mean,
I think
obviously, like you
Taco
say,
Bell near me is hiring at like $8 an hour.
really?
What's
Yeah.
weird
That's
here,
it? Oh,
Yeah,
dude.
I'm pretty sure the sign, because every time I go through the drive-through, they've got like a little picket sign
Mm-hmm.
over there on the side, and it says now starting at $8 an hour and $13 for assistant managers or something like that. It's like, yeah.
Yeah,
That's banging.
so here the cost of living is pretty close to Texas. Like it's not bad at all here. But the pay here is stupid high. Like for the
Yeah.
jobs. Like I mean I'm talking Taco Bell starting 12 an hour, like that kind of stuff. Like it's
Yeah.
just like you can get entry level jobs for like high schoolers that are getting paid more than, some people who are, busting their ass in
Yeah.
Texas.
That was the crazy thing with where I worked previously. There were new hires that were getting paid more for the same position as the current employees.
No, that actually happened to somebody. The son of one of my coworkers had worked at a fast food joint for like years, right? And these new people that they're hiring, they're literally hiring him in as what he's like gotten raises for. So, and they wouldn't give him a raise. So he ended up just being like, "All right, I quit."
Yeah,
Because
because
like,
that just
what's the
shows
point
that
of like being there for 3 years and doing all that if the new people that like aren't even good at their job, don't even do anything, are coming in getting paid the same exact as I am?
Yeah,
Like that's
that's
stupid.
basic 101. If you're going to give it like bump your starting pay raise, you have to bump everyone. Like
Yeah.
otherwise it doesn't count. Like I mean whenever we did the like we bumped all of our store pay, I got a raise too because everyone in my position would have been like, I'm out because now you're giving like general managers and stuff my pay. Why would I still be here? Like,
yeah, it just shows that they don't value you as a
yeah.
employee.
Well, I mean, my
Mhm.
company bumped my pay, so I mean, they did good with
Well,
that.
yeah, I mean,
But,
the people that like what Pat had said,
yeah,
if
Yeah.
you're working somewhere and there are a bunch of people that are now making the same you are, or even more, and your pay just stays where it's at. It's like, I've been here a couple of years. Why, why am I not being taken care of?
yeah. I
Because it's
mean
just you're not
that's
valued.
why I left my last job to the one I have now is because me and this other guy like so I was landscaping right. We had landscape crews and we had lawn crews. And I ran all the landscape crews and he ran all the lawn crews and we were making the same amount. And then he got a pay raise and I didn't. And when I went and talked to him about it, like my boss said, I just I don't think that your spot needs that much or whatever. And I said okay, cool, it's my 2 weeks, and I was out like just because like we're doing the exact same job, especially since my crews were picking up lawns too because we'd finish our jobs and then go help them finish their route for the day. And so I'm like, we're doing the same work, and yeah, he was mad about it too. The other guy who got a raise and I didn't. He was mad about it too. He ended up quitting like 2 months later because he said I don't like how they're running it.
Yeah. And it's like, but I do like that in jobs where they actually give raises too, though, because it's like it gives you something to look forward to, like every year. Like they do like a performance review. It's like, yeah, it might not be a lot, but it's still like, okay, I'm making a little bit more money this year, and then the
Yeah, I
next
went
year,
from
like I'm making a little bit
$15
more
to
money.
15.01.
If you sit at stagnant rates or whatever, though, that can kind of get like depressing after a while
Yeah,
because you're
but
like, the
some
only way I'm going to
jobs
make more is if I just work more
yeah, but some
or
jobs
take
are
on a lot
hard
more
to some jobs are
responsibility.
hard to do performance reviews though. Like
Yeah.
in our current job, like how do you performance review? Only person you could do that on is like the salaried people because they have the control over stuff. Like our
Yeah.
hourly employees don't actually have control on. Like I mean, it's just hard to give them a performance review. But that being said, when it comes to performance reviews, I think it should go both ways though. Like you can get a raise or a demotion. Like it's
Yeah.
like, okay, this last year you have done nothing but hurt us, so we're gonna take away 10 cents an hour.
Yeah. Because when my previous, well, I guess technically it's not my previous job because I worked as a server. But before that, I was doing that air mechanic thing and we got it every year. And, nobody really told each other what they were getting as far as raises went. Like it was pretty like we just like didn't say to each other. So you would all go up to the office with the managers and the supervisor or whatever, and he would like be like, okay, this is what you're getting this year because of this and that, you know. And I definitely know because Seth's brother worked there that he always busted his butt always. Like he's a good worker, like a very hard worker. Um, he doesn't BS around a lot, you know. And then if he's working, like he's being really efficient with his time, he got lots of parts out all the time. And that boy went in there, you know, he's very like confident, I would say. He's a very confident man. And he went in there and he's like, nah, I want this amount or else I'm going to go somewhere else. And they gave him to him. He got like $2 raise. And then a year later, he got like another dollar raise just because he was like, dude, you can go look. Because they kept track of like what you finished. And you'd be like, you can go look. I do more work than half these people in here. And so when they fired everybody, right? They fired like half their workforce because it was so bad during the pandemic because it's airline industry and nobody was flying.
Well,
He was
birds
one of
were.
he was one of the few
No,
people
they weren't allowed to fly either. Anyways.
They were
that didn't
dying
get
from the
fired.
virus. You're right.
And I straight up know that the reason he didn't get fired is because he knew more than the majority of the people there, even though he's been there a lot less than some of them. And he does way more work than they do. And so when they started looking over, okay, what is this guy worth it or not? Nope. Nope. And like, yep. Because he like proved himself. So I like that because it like gives you a little bit more like, okay, yes, the job can get boring at times, but also like if I'm working really hard, like I get something for my work, even if I don't get a promotion. Because you know, sometimes in jobs like that, there's only a few places you can get promoted to, you know, and some of those guys will sit there for 10 years, 15 years because
Waiting for the one position to open up. Yeah.
yeah, you know, and it's like, you know, I want to be the supervisor. Well, Scott's been there for 20 years. You're not going to get Scott's job until Scott retires or dies, basically. So
Dies.
you know, like you can only be a lead man and that's it. Like after that, you have nowhere to go unless you like somehow hopped into a different part of the building. But some of that you have to have like an AMP license and all sorts of stuff. So that's getting
That's
too much
the
deep.
actually that is the plot to the script I'm writing. It's actually called What Happened to Scott. And essentially it's a guy that's been there for like 5 years and he's hit the top. He's waiting to get promoted. And the guy that he's trying to replace has been there 20, 30 years, not
Mhm.
going anywhere. So the guy plans to have the guy killed. There you go. What
Wait,
Happened to
what is
Scott.
this?
That's a movie.
Really?
Yeah.
Hell yeah, and it didn't work, I'm assuming.
Oh, I have no idea. The movie's not finished yet. I'm still writing it.
I thought this was a real movie.
I'm
was
going to
getting
need
psyched,
the
dude.
theme song or the credit song to be Scotty Doesn't Know. Okay.
Yeah.
Make that happen.
That would be pretty cool. I feel like it could actually be a pretty funny and interesting movie, or like really terrible, depending on how you went with
Yeah,
it.
I want like a Jason Sudeikis, or like a Charlie Day to play the main character because you know they got that kind of goofy antic style that they
Yeah.
bring in the majority of their movies.
But but think about it this way. Instead of doing it as a comedy, right? How about you turn it into like a slow burning thriller? And like, you know how like in the beginning of Breaking Bad, he's like the super nice guy, and by the end of it, he's like this drug lord kingpin that like kills people and doesn't even bat an eyelash.
Yeah.
So the guy like does it, and then all this terrible stuff he has to do to like cover it up and make sure he doesn't get caught and like murdering the guy completely changes him. And so at the end of the movie, you know, he barely escapes not getting caught, and he gets the guy's position, and then it's like he's sitting in his office at the end of the movie that he earned by murdering this man, and it's like, oh shit,
Yeah, and
Hey,
then
you know what? Better yet,
this
if it's
wasn't
a
worth
slow
it
burn,
or whatever.
make it a mini series. Go for
Uh-huh.
like 3 seasons, and the first season's all about him plotting, right? And at the end of it, he gets the position. No,
I feel like it would be good for like an 8 episode series.
yeah,
You could probably tell a really good story that was like enthralling in 8 episodes and just be done.
yeah, but you spend kind of the
Don't
beginning
drag it out.
and middle of it, have him attempting and plotting how he's going to get away with it, right? He
All right,
eventually
this
gets
is all
it.
copyrighted. Nobody's allowed to steal this material. This is a Will and Patrick original.
Productions.
what
Seth
about me?
Did
I have the ending
Add-
already. I'm just letting you guys talk. All right. I've
Oh,
got
okay,
your
because we
ending.
hadn't heard any chip in yet, so we were like, it's. I didn't
I-
want to cut you out or anything.
I'm not
but,
sure. I'm just trying to let you guys spit your ideas, and then I'll come in with
So
the ending and be boom.
he eventually gets like halfway through, right? And
Mhm.
then it spends a good portion of him trying to not get caught. And then
Mhm.
obviously at the end he gets caught and then faces the consequences, which is
No,
where
no,
it's
no, no.
That's
I
not
don't want him
the
to
ending
get
we
caught.
want. No.
That's boring.
Oh, he doesn't get
Yeah.
caught.
No, that's not
Yeah,
the
no.
ending we get. So last episode, because we're doing a miniseries, right? So last
Uh-huh.
episode,
Okay.
like he gets him, he gets away with it, he gets the job. He's like he sets up his office, right? Like you can just see he's just proud of himself. And then it'll cut to another employee, and he'll be looking up like how to get away with murder. And it's over.
Mm.
That's cute too. That's
Yeah, yeah.
it's either that or like like he gets it and then there's like it wasn't worth it. Like I feel like you could do
This
a really
job
good like
sucks.
like I did all this crap, and went through all of this, and then you get to the end and it's like for like $10,000 more a year,
Yeah.
and now my life's completely changed. My wife's like, "Who the hell are you anymore? Because you've been acting weird for the last 4 months or whatever." And like, his outside life is like falling apart around him, but his work, he's like made it to the top finally. And he's like, so he's in this moment of like, I made it, but like everything else is shit now. And now what's going to happen? And then you just cut it, and nobody, you don't tell the rest of the
Yeah,
story.
you,
You
you,
just
you
end it.
could
Are
you
we
could
talking
show
about my
how it
life right
affected
now?
you could show like how it actually it affected and ruined his marriage. Maybe,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It's like, and then he figures out, okay,
Friendships,
was it worth it all?
you know,
Yeah,
Apologize
I like
if I
it.
start
friendships,
It's
crying.
piecing together.
children, coworkers,
Wait, he
everything,
killed children?
No, I'm just saying like it
Okay.
just affects like every part of his life, Family, friendships, hobbies, everything. Just like completely ruins it all. And then it's like, damn, dude. I think, dude, this is actually a pretty good. I feel like this could be really good if you wrote it right and you
Yeah.
had the right actors. Or you could do it the other way and it could be
I
like a
wa-
comedy thing, right?
Yeah,
And that could be funny too.
I think you can mix the two.
What if it starts out
need
as a
Ryan.
comedy and it is advertised as such, and
Oh,
then it
God.
quickly starts going downhill and just becomes really serious?
So like
But-
the first episode is like lighthearted and then it's like dark as hell by
It's
the
all
end.
downhill from here.
I want Ryan Reynolds to play Scott, the boss. Just
Uh-huh.
be a complete asshole. And the normal Ryan Reynolds, just straight asshole.
And it's kind of weird that we're saying this and we chose Scott and then there's like Michael Scott from The Office. I think that's kind of funny.
Dude.
That was like totally random because I had a boss named Scott and that's where this came from. But like he was definitely that's funny. Just like a little side note. I'm sorry.
Actor to play the main character, Jason
Uh-huh.
Bateman.
Maybe I could see that.
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah. I don't know. I'm just because I'm picturing like his performance in like Ozark, right?
Yeah, this is very good.
Yeah,
And he does kind of portray that.
yeah.
and
He's
it is
got
kinda
a
the
really
same idea
broad
in a
range of
way.
where he can go, where it is
Yeah.
very comedic and they can get incredibly serious.
And he also could be
Is
just
he-
that mid-level worker who then snaps. I can see it.
Yeah. Yeah. Dude. We probably shouldn't even post this episode.
Honestly, I'm not too thrilled with the ending of it showing the guy at the end that's now plotting to take over his position, because I'm getting a lot of Alfred Hitchcock, the Box. I think it was called The Box,
Yeah.
and they actually made a movie.
Is that
With,
kind of like something that
No,
Well, I feel
no,
like
no.
what I'm
So
saying
okay,
has
so they
been
made a
done
movie
before
probably
too,
about
though.
10 years ago with James Marsden and some chick, I don't remember her name. And essentially it's actually based off of a Twilight Zone episode.
Yeah.
Oh, is that the
where
one with the vampires?
the stranger appears to this couple and says, if you open this box, you get, I don't know, $1 million. But somebody you don't know dies. Right?
Mhm.
And so the episode is them struggling whether or not, hey, can we do this? Can we live with ourselves if we did this? We could really use the money. just contemplating and kind of going over the pros and cons of doing it. So at the end, they decide to go ahead and do it. They open up the box and they get the money. I think it's money, whatever it is, wealth, riches, fame, whatever was promised to them. They get that, right?
Okay.
And then they, I want to say in the original episode on Twilight Zone, the box, I guess they can't keep or something like that. And they ask why. And he says, well, I'm going to take this and I'm going to give it to somebody you don't know. And it's basically the premise is, so the next person in line that says yes or no, if they take it, now this couple that we just witnessed the last 30 minutes in the episode, they're the people that the people don't know, and they're the ones that die.
That's like the
Fair.
what if, like, oh crap,
Yeah,
this could
It's
happen to
fair,
me
though.
now.
exactly.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Free
I'm
kills.
kind of I kind of like having the people not get away with it. Have to deal with the consequences of their actions.
That's
Yeah.
just a basic movie. Like
Yeah.
all movies, like good guys win. You don't get away with it. Blah blah blah. I want to see them get away with it. I always get away with it, or something bad happen that's outside of the law, or
Yeah, I like seeing it where it's not
He
just
commits
like
suicide at the end.
like a bad guy and he just gets caught. Like that's boring after a while.
What about that
What
though? He
but
kills
what
himself
is
at the end
interesting,
because of
yeah,
the
is that
guilt.
it's like to show, because I feel like it's more powerful of a message to people, right? If you show somebody successfully do whatever bad thing they're doing, but show how like dark and unloving and unhappy you can become in your search for like what you are. I think that's like, as a person watching it, it gives you pause when you're like, I'm gonna do this just because I know I can't get caught, but it's like, where does that lead? You know what I'm
Psychologically,
saying?
where's it leave you?
Yeah, so it like makes you have a lot more deep, like soul searching meaning to the show, or like the character gets burned and something really bad happens to him, but he does get away with whatever it is. But it's like for every action there is a consequence, and I like things that like show that it's like you might not get the consequence you expected. So like you thought, oh, I'm gonna rob this store, and I'll go to jail if I get caught. Instead, it's like, oh, he robbed the store, but something happens when he's trying to escape and he accidentally like runs over a kid, and now he has to live with the terribleness of his actions. And then maybe he does turn himself in eventually because he's just, or kills himself or whatever it is. It's like to show that it's like, just because you don't get caught doesn't mean that you don't get caught. You know what I'm saying? Like your mind can get caught
Yeah.
and trapped, and you will suffer the consequences of an
Valuable
action, even
lesson.
if you don't. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
you mentioned with Breaking Bad earlier.
Because that's kind of what Breaking Bad
in
teaches
this
you in the
series,
end.
how many instances does Walt have the opportunity just to walk away and drop
And
it
he won't. Yeah.
and live a normal life, whatever it is, and walk away? And he has this greed, right? This selfishness that continues to push him to more and more and more and more. And then eventually at the end, it all catches up to him. At the end, he's basically free. The opportunities and opportunities keep giving way, and he passes them up because he's selfish and like I say, he's greedy.
I feel like in that show, right, which you understand like midway through, is like it all for Walter White, the whole reason he does it, right, is pride.
Yeah.
Because to him, he just can't stomach the fact that he got out of that company that ended up turning into like $1 billion company,
Gray
and
matter.
all of his best friends that started it are like filthy wealthy, and he's just like this poor teacher,
Overqualified
that
chemistry
gets
teacher. Yeah.
cancer. And so he feels sorry for himself, but at first he feels sorry for himself when he gets cancer, and he does it like almost out of desperation. And then midway through, when he finds out he doesn't have cancer, he still keeps going because it's like the pride thing. He's finally like, up top and like showing people what's up, and so he just keeps going, and it like becomes an all-consuming thing that crushes crushes his entire life around him,
Yeah,
and he
they
loses
say
his
it's cliche to
wife,
say, but pride's the
his
ultimate downfall.
kids, everything. He kills his own brother-in-law. That's like awesome. Hank is like such a good dude. He's just trying to do the right thing the whole time, and Walter ends up having to. It's like it's just crazy. Like, and that's what makes that show good, because it starts out so slow. But I'm gonna say this though. This is my favorite. My favorite thing that I took in high school was film class because of this exact reason, because we would sit there, and at the beginning of film, every year they would try and decide what video you were going to make, etc. And like people would just like brainstorm and throw out ideas, and everybody would just feed into it, and we'd go down these huge rabbit trails of like, what if we went with this idea, and then be like, nah, we're not going to do that, and then we'd go into a whole nother one, and we'd spend 2 hours talking about like, what do we want to do, like what's the meaning behind the film, like what are we trying to portray. And it was just like really, that opened my eyes to film in a way that before I was like, I never really thought about as much.
Yeah, I think those kind of classes would be interesting.
Yeah, but it was so fun for the creative side of your brain, right? Because it's not like it was just structured and, oh, you know, multiple choice, or what's the answer to this? It was just like, okay, come up with a good idea. And everybody's
Well,
just
see,
like,
that's,
okay.
I think the human brain works best when it's given those choices. The
Yeah.
opportunity to have a bit of flexibility or freedom to talk and decide on things, and not just be told this is what's happening and you have to say yes or no. It's more linear
Yeah.
and restrictive at that point. But when you're given the opportunity to, have a open discussion, say, hey, yeah, this is cool, that's cool. Oh, no, that doesn't work. That doesn't work. This works. You know, you've got. I feel like you've got way more creative freedom in that way,
Yeah.
and you can do. I think you probably put a better product out too.
Oh yeah, for sure. Um, and also what it does is it makes the people invested in it, right? Because it's no longer like this is an assignment that you have to do. It's like this was our idea that we came up with. So now let's see how we're gonna achieve it. And sometimes we would like completely fail and the film sucked, right? But it was
Yep.
still like, oh, maybe we could have done better. But I think that's why like that class had such a cult following, and the people that like were in it, like we all were like obsessed with it.
Yeah, I
So,
definitely think it'd be fun.
what happened to Scott?
Yeah.
Is a miniseries coming out in
Uh-huh.
2024?
2024, damn.
Well, ETA,
We
ETA,
better get
because
on it.
we gotta get the finances and the budget behind it. We have
GoFundMe
to-
page is gonna be
Yeah,
up.
so
I just tweeted Ryan Reynolds. He's almost on board already. So,
Okay.
Nice.
Sick, dude.
yeah, cool
Wow.
beans.
I don't
All
know
right,
how to
that's
use
episode
Twitter.
61, The Talking Guys. Check us out at Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Reddit, Pornhub,
LinkedIn.
and Snapchat. Oh yeah, and Facebook.
Yeah.
Facebook,
And,
yeah, check us out on Facebook.
don't forget OnlyFans also.
Yep.
Super cool
Links is
pics of all
always
of us
in the description.
doing podcast things.
See you guys when we see you guys.
Peace.
Later.